Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Alice and my channel is called Alice's Life. In today's video I'm going to be talking all about the 6 books that I read during June 2021. The first book that I read this month was called The Rosie Effect and it was written in 2014. I bought it from a charity shop near where I live for maybe £1. I found it quite difficult to get into. The main character was a man possibly with autistic spectrum condition, and it was talking about his recent marriage to his wife, and she was now pregnant. So it was talking about how he was dealing with the pregnancy. I thought it was quite long and drawn out because I think it was about 400 pages, which was maybe too long for that sort of book. It was good kind of to see sort of the autistic spectrum side of things, but it was a bit to the extreme or very male brain dominance. Maybe I should read The Rosie Result, which was written in 2020. I might enjoy that one a bit more, I don't know. So I didn't read the first one, I read The Rosie Effect, which is the second, and a new one came out last year. The next book that I read this month was called A Minute to Midnight, and it was written in 2019. It seems to be a very popular book because it had over 10,000 reviews on Amazon. It was kind of a thriller. There were some funny parts and some strong characters, but the title of the book doesn't really relate to what the story was about, which was about 2 6-year-old twins, and one of them vanishes during the night, and then the one that's still alive becomes a detective and is trying to find out what happened exactly. So it's the third in the series, so I probably, as before, should have started by reading them in the correct order, but it did make sense reading it all by itself. So the next book that I read this month was called Adults, and it was written a few months ago, earlier in 2021. It is a Sunday Times bestseller, and I've read lots of articles and things about it, so I was pleased when I saw it in the library on display. It's all about a woman in her 30s that lives in London, and she's quite neurotic and very obsessed with social media. Like, I like the beginning bit, she spends about 6 pages going through the thought processes of how to take a photo and caption a photo of her croissants that she buys in a bakery. And it kind of touches on the friendship aspect as well, and also relationships with men. But I didn't really relate to her dysfunctional life and living in London and things, but it was funny in some parts. But I'd give it a 4 stars. And then it got a bit confusing because I read Olive very shortly after, like a couple of days, or like the next day after finishing Adults, and they were very similar because it was also about a woman in her 30s, but this time it was a bit more focused on children. So she decided that she didn't want children, so she broke up with her long-term partner. Yeah, so she has one friend that has one very young baby, and then another friend with 3 kids, and then another friend that's trying IVF. So she kind of feels left behind by her friendship group, and the chapters go from like 2009 to 2019 where they currently are, because when they were at 2009 they were living in university housing together and going through that experience, and they were all on the same sort of wavelength, and now they've sort of grown up, and the main character Olive feels like now she's in her 30s, everyone's moving on with their life and she's getting left behind. I like the way the book was written, and for that I'd give it 4.5 stars, but my main problem was the ending because it seemed a bit rushed and very random. I don't think that was the sort of ending that the book needed. And then the next book that I read was by one of my favourite authors, I think, called Sophie Mackenzie. Similar to before, the Close My Eyes title doesn't really make sense, but I really like this thriller and I read it very quickly. It's all about this woman and her daughter called Beth dies while she's in her womb, and then she ends up being born by emergency cesarean section, and then the main character can't stop thinking about it, and then a stranger comes to the door and says something that makes her question everything that happened 8 years ago when the daughter went. Yeah, it was really weird. but the ending was a bit dark as well. I probably shouldn't give any spoilers, but I would actually recommend this. Yeah, I would give it 4 stars. I got this for my birthday as well. The last book that I completed this month was called We Need to Talk About Love, and it's written by Laura Mushka, and it was written in 2019. I rated this 2.5 stars. I do actually quite like the whole scientific thing and constant references, but I just found the amount of footnotes too much. Like sometimes it's like half a page, but if there's like a little apostrophe and you have to go down and see what it was, I don't see why it can't be included more in the main text. There are a few diagrams which I like. I like a diagram like that. I don't know, I just thought it was a bit, it's about 360 pages, all of it sciencey stuff about love, so I thought it was a bit dense. I don't know. The grief bit was interesting, and like, what you expect out of relationships and how Hollywood and media, and also I thought the attachments bit was interesting, like insecure or secure attachments, or anxious attachments or avoidant attachments. That was all very interesting as well. So I enjoyed that chapter. I don't know, it depends what you're looking for. Maybe I would recommend this. Okay, so that was the 6 books that I've managed to finish this month, and then this is another one which was really annoying me. So it should have been a good book because it was shortlisted for the Orange Prize, and it was a Sunday Times bestseller, and it's called Milkman. I like the front cover, and it's all about living in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, but I was trying to read it for weeks and weeks, and I only got maybe just less than 2/3 through. Just the whole sentence structure and how it's laid out, and like, I don't see why you'd have 2 pages of one. No, look, no paragraphs. I just thought it was a bit annoying, and she didn't like mention people's names, so I don't know. I wanted to like it, but I did not like it, and I could not complete it. So technically I read 6 books this month, or maybe you could say 6.5. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any video suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And that's it. Bye.